The game of baseball is oftentimes referred to as America's pastime. While the game is being played at the highest level, pressure is also being applied at the highest level. For some players, this is seen as part of the game, but for others, it is too much to handle and they result in taking and participating in the uses of performance-enhancing drugs known as steroids. With my career in college baseball at the Division I level for 2 years so far, and my extensive research with ESPN, the National Institute of Drug Abuse, and MLB.com, my eyes have opened very much to see what exactly is happening in Major League Baseball with performance-enhancing drugs. People need to become more aware of what exactly is a performance-enhancing drug, who's associated with using them, and what is being done in Major League Baseball and throughout the league to stop this dilemma. With steroids being the main topic of discussion tonight, we will first take a look at what type of steroids are being used by athletes and exactly what steroids even are. So according to the National Institute of Drug Abuse, the type of steroids that athletes are associated with taking now in Major League Baseball are anabolic steroids. Anabolic steroids help athletes develop muscle mass at a quicker pace and also help them recover from their workouts and also injuries faster too. Not only do they develop muscle at a quicker pace, but they develop more muscle at a quicker pace. Steroids were intended for people with diseases that halted the development of skeletal muscle tissue. Steroids were also developed to help people with late puberty development. Like any other drug, steroids come with side effects. These side effects include the most popular, which is irritability, also known as roid rage. Another side effect is also bad decision making that one wouldn't usually have when it comes to taking steroids. All in all, steroids are now developed and used primarily for people illegally in sports when they were mainly supposed to be used for people with common diseases that related to slow development of muscle tissue. Secondly, we will take a look at who exactly is taking steroids in Major League Baseball and how it is affecting the game every day. Since the game of baseball has started, there have been many unorthodox ways and processes that players use to try and take their game to the next level. But once steroids hit the scene, people saw it as the best way to do it. According to ESPN, in the early 2000s, the league became more aware that steroids were being used in Major League Baseball. One thing was unsure though is that how much the league was using it. So according to ESPN, in 2003, the leagues began implementing tests with no intentions of punishing players who tested positive, but only to see if 5% of the league has been taking steroids. If 5% of the league was taking steroids, they would then implement steroid testing in 2004 and years to come. Once the test came back in 2003 and they saw that 5% of the league was taking steroids, they decided that steroid testing would be implemented and policies would be enforced for years to come. As I mentioned, many players have been associated with taking steroids in Major League Baseball, but one big name that has recently been associated with steroids is Alex Rodriguez. Alex Rodriguez played Major League Baseball for 20 seasons and just recently retired from the New York Yankees organization. In 2003, Alex Rodriguez was associated with taking steroids in the non-punishable steroid testing. As I mentioned, there were no intentions of punishing players, so the results were also kept confidential, but according to MLB Network, in 2009, Alex Rodriguez came out and admitted to taking steroids and being associated with the test in 2003. Alex Rodriguez would also fail later drug tests and serve suspensions from games ranging from 50 to 100 games. According to ESPN, with the new steroid testing policies, there are now 3,600 tests sent out each and every year to players in Major League Baseball, with intentions of punishing players who are associated and tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs and anabolic steroids. Now, steroids carry negative connotations because it makes it look like players are cheating the game and cheating the fans who pay so much attention and follow these teams so closely year in and year out from April to October. Players are even left out of the Hall of Fame because they are simply accused of taking steroids, even if they were not even proven guilty with factual information. Third, we will take a look at what is being done around Major League Baseball to stop the steroid dilemma and end the era of steroid usage in Major League Baseball. According to ESPN, many changes have been made to steroid policies and provisions have been made to send out, like I mentioned, 3,600 tests year in and year out to teams all around the country and all 30 clubs. One of the provisions that have been made is that the increased testing can now be used in the off-season. This is very significant because players would result, and usually they would go back to their hometowns and home countries in the off-season and use performance-enhancing drugs to take their game to the next level. By the time they made it back to spring training, the drugs would be out of their system and they would be able to pass tests. Another way that the Major League Baseball organization and the clubs involved are taking their steroid policies to the next level is by adding substances to the list of banned drugs. This is significant because with technology being developed, certain substances can now be taken by players and remain dormant on steroid drug tests so that the league and the other teams don't know that these players are taking these performance-enhancing drugs and helping them take their game to the next level. As well as policies and other things being implemented in Major League Baseball, players are also volunteering their time and money to help spread awareness and educate the youth of America on how steroids are having a negative effect on players and the game of baseball itself. Those are just some ways that people and the game of baseball are trying to take steps for the future to stop steroids in the game of baseball and keep it at a fair and competitive level. Many people look at this and think that the game is failing because players are being caught and associated with taking steroids to this day. But I look at it as a big win for the game of baseball because it is not in their control to see who is taking steroids and just ultimately stop players. But all they can do is hold players accountable for their actions and keep them from playing the game if they're performance-enhancing drugs. So far, it's been a long battle in the game of baseball to stop performance-enhancing drugs throughout the league, but there are definitely positive steps being taken. I hope that tonight you took advantage of the opportunity to educate yourself on exactly what's happening in the game of baseball at the professional level with performance-enhancing drugs and steroid usage. And that all begins with learning exactly what steroids are, who is being associated with them, and what is being done around Major League Baseball to stop this dilemma. Thank you so much.